What happens when you try to turn a Barbie into drag royalty with nothing but a dream, a Pinterest board, and a backup doll or two for emotional support? A lot of chaos and hopefully, maybe, a little bit of magic. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's project's one I've been dreaming about and slightly terrified of for a long time. To push me into working on the project and actually doing it, I teamed up with a few other amazing doll customizers for a fun collab and decided to challenge myself with something totally new, creating a custom Trixie Mattel doll. All of the channels will be creating drag queen dolls, each of them on the style of doll and in the style of their choice. At least two of the channels will be using BJD dolls for theirs. I'll be using a Barbie Dream Bestie, like the one that you can see up here on screen, and then also a couple practice dolls from my bin that I was planning on selling. I called them my trash dolls. They're just basic Millies that look like one of any dozens of other Millies. Trixie Mattel's look is bold, beautiful, and a little intimidating, but it's really iconic and super recognizable. I love her love of mod and Barbiecore fashion, the endless YouTube tutorials she generously shares. I thought maybe I could just pull this off. So I did what any unprepared artist would do. I went into deep research mode, Pinterest boards, YouTube rabbit holes, frantic outfit matching. I soaked in all the Trixie I could before even touching a doll. All right, so I'll admit the first doll, we're naming her Dixie, came out pretty rough. Really rough, as a matter of fact. I did my best, lessons were learned. This is what she was mostly for, was to help me learn things. And I did go back later. I wasn't glad with the angle of the side cut. My final doll will not have an open mouth. I won't have to worry about the teeth. There are some other details I can see that I did try to improve upon later, but this was the best I could do at this point in time. I felt like the hair teased up pretty good. I didn't want to waste a really good outfit on her because, well, she's just Dixie. We've got to save our good outfit for Trixie. But like any good assistant, Dixie will try on a couple of Trixie's outfits for her so we can help pinpoint which ones we think are going to be the better look. Of the Barbie doll dresses that have kind of a mod feel that I had in my collection, I had this one. I feel like a lot of Trixie's dresses have that orange and pink going on, and this does too. She prefers long sleeves. This would have been high heels. But again, this is just Dixie. This is just our sample run, and for that, it's good enough. And she's not the worst, frankly. I think I maybe could have done worse. All right, let's try the next outfit and see what we think about that. I think this outfit looks good. It's a little bit giving that 60s mod vibe. I like that it has longer sleeves overall, but that won't be the final dress. What we'll do now is, I thought I would bring you along for painting the accessories. We also need to paint her eyes brown. I believe Trixie's eyes are brown or a hazel color, so we'll be repainting the eyes and then adding white to the shoes. I thought I could paint the bows white and the heels white, and then that would help them blend in. Now that I looked back at the reference photo, I'm wondering if I should have just painted them completely white. I have no regrets. I think it came out as good as I was able to do. And I think that's fun to challenge yourself if you just set your expectations appropriately. I knew that it wasn't going to win any awards and impress probably anybody but me, the finished product. But pushing myself to try something new and hard, I learned a lot of things. One was that I don't like projects that are this hard, and that I don't know, at least right away, if I'd want to try another project with this difficult of a makeup challenge to it. The makeup portion was really challenging. I felt like I didn't have a problem achieving the other parts that I wanted, but trying to do the complex eyeshadow and eye makeup look, I feel like that's beyond my skills. So I don't know if I'll try that again, but I did have a lot of fun challenging myself, and I do have a doll that I think is adorable and that I'm proud of. Well, I have 3 dolls, but only one that I'm proud of. The other 2, I think, are just a warning to people. No. just a reminder that that's what practice is for. We create practice dolls to work on, knowing that they may not be, probably won't be beautiful, and that's what they're for. I would have just sold the doll for $1 at a yard sale, so for that, I felt like I got my dollar's worth and I wasn't disappointed. So I've mixed Mod Podge with the white paint, which thins it down and then sort of seals it, although really hot water, we could wash or just scrape this off if we wanted. It takes many layers to get it nice and white and opaque if you don't want it to be chunky and lumpy, and I don't. So I'm going to take my time and be patient with this project, just like I did with the makeup job on the Trixie doll. I took weeks on the Dream Bestie painting. And when we come along to do the Pixie, I bring you along for trying to make my Pixie Mattel so you can see what I did. And it gives you a good idea of what happened on the other dolls. Okay, here we are. We are back over to the Dream Bestie, or Trixie doll, and I'm painting over her blue eyes and making them brown. They did look much better blue. They popped out, and no regrets because I like the challenge, and this is something that I did feel comfortable with. It's something I did on my Dream Bestie to Draculaura makeover. I repainted her eyes inside, not the whole thing. I didn't wipe it all off. I'm just repainting over the colored part, the cornea, and the pupil, the black part, and then adding back in the catch lights. This would have been better if I had done it before applying the lashes, maybe? I don't know. It might have cracked when I was punching the lashes in. I was 6 of one and half dozen of another on what would be the best order. But it is difficult not to get any paint on the eyelashes. After painting the eyes brown and giving them a chance to dry, then I'll be using the end of a paintbrush and some black paint to dot the pupils in for the eyes. You want to be really careful if you get paint on your fingers. You can touch the doll and end up with black paint all kinds of places that you didn't expect. It does happen to me. I have something fall over and spill, and she ends up with black paint in her hair. I did try to curl her hair, dip it in boiling water and all of that, and then it just kind of reverted back to its original kinky nature. So let's cut to the next part. Now, after I was all done, I did come in and add a black line between the white and the pink, and then add an even lighter pink from that pink line all the way up to the eyebrow. I don't think I caught any of that on film. I think I thought I was all done filming footage and then thought, oh, but wait, this. And went back and adjusted all 3 dolls. When I need to paint something super, super tiny and an unbent paper clip is still too big, the tip of a needle is my preferred tool. And that's what I'll be using to add the whites in the eyes today. Of course, we need to dot the pupil in and let that dry completely before we add any whites or catch lights to the eyes. I like to use the end of this paintbrush. Seems to be just about the right size for a Barbie Dream Bestie pupil. And I've gotten some on my fingers. Ugh. And then just trying to carefully place it centrally into the middle of the eye. And that one seemed a little bit smaller, so I go back and dab at it with the rounded end of my paintbrush until I feel like it's close to the same size of the pupil in the other eye. Then after all of this dries, then I can use a needle or an unbent tack to add the catch lights. It's had time to dry. We're back. got my needle and I'm just going to use straight acrylic paint in 2 dots on both of the eyes, and you want to place them in the same spot. If it's on, your right hand side of one eye, it needs to be on the right hand side about the same spot of the other eye, or it will look wacky. We need to let that dry completely before we can paint. Oh, the nails are already painted. But if you are going to add anything more, you want to wait for that to dry completely. And then she might be ready to get dressed into her outfit. I know I already warned you that this part didn't work, but I did take the time and energy, and it should have worked. I just think maybe this hair came crimped. Maybe my water wasn't hot enough. I suppose I could have left it in the boiling hot water long enough, but I take her front pieces, split them into 2, and carefully coil each one around one of these straws and hold it down with paper clips. And then I use the nearly hot boiling water in a cup and carefully dunk that in. I have her face all wrapped in plastic wrap so that if any of the water drips on the face, it won't ruin anything, because this really is only semi-permanent makeup. A dunk in boiling hot water could start the removal of quite a bit of this makeup without any nail polish remover needed. So I continue doing this until I have all 4 done. Let's cut forward to that, especially since we already know this is not going to work. And then again, the near boiling hot water. Her face is carefully wrapped, and dunk that in there. And then I took it and put it in the freezer for just a minute and then let it cool before taking everything out. You might recognize this next doll from the wolf cut and rooted eyelash makeover video. I just again pulled her from my trash collection to practice the haircut on and to create the video. It worked out, share it. If it didn't, I wouldn't. So I think this is a great victim for our next soon-to-be Pixie Mattel doll. She already has her makeup on. I'm going to give her quite a bit of hairspray, tease it up, try to see what I can do to give her some volume or some sort of a hairstyle. And I speed that up. I have no idea what I'm doing, and this in no way could be a tutorial. Let's watch me flounder around until I come up with something at high speed. Actually, let's not. Even at high speed, that footage was just painful to watch. I used some hairspray to tidy up it a little, but it's pretty much a don't look at her from the back situation here. I'll need to remove her eyebrows for this, and since she has that pixelated paint, it's a struggle. You really have to grind away at that. So let me speed up me working away at getting her eyebrows off so we can hurry up and get to the clumsy painting part. Don't you want to see me do a horrible job trying to paint this doll? I hope it should be entertaining and fun and hopefully amusing. I was amused, so hopefully you will be too. It turns out that the footage of painting her face isn't going to be nearly as useful as I had imagined, and you'll see in just a second. It's because I like to use a magnifier over it when I'm working on it while I'm wearing magnifying glasses. And while I thought that we could see her face through the magnifier onto the camera, we can't. And then see how my head gets under. So you can't see anything that I'm doing. My head's under here. So when I talk about I had footage that wasn't any good, so I just got rid of it, this is what I'm talking about. So we'll just cut from here to where we can see something. Well, lucky for me, I felt confident enough to do the eyebrows without the magnifying lens. So we got some footage of this. It was really a bit of a struggle to come up with a full video for you all to watch with all of the lack of actual video footage of any of the process. But I did really want to share it with you. I'm super excited about the idea. I'm way more excited about everyone else's projects since they all have far more experience at this and I'm just couldn't be more excited about seeing what the other people are going to do. And I was even thinking about making this into a challenge. I may yet tag a couple other channels that like doll customizing and see if I can see what kind of a drag queen they would make. One of the things that I think is really fun about this drag queen concept is that drag queens do have really outlandish, over-the-top makeup, fashions, hair, shoes. That's all the things that make dolls fun to me. So drag queens and dolls, I think they just sort of go hand in hand, at least for the way I like to collect and customize. I'm continuing working along on the project, adding some details under the eye. It takes lots of patience and layers. Right now, I'm just outlining the basic eye shape. And this was where I felt like I went wrong on the other two and where I 100% got it right on this one. So I was quite proud of getting it correct on this project. So what I've got for you right here is a little bit of a tutorial on what not to do. Certainly I'm doing some things right. I should be doing more layers of Mr. Super Clear. I should be taking my time and being patient and not trying to rush through it all in one sitting. That's not what's going to happen, though. I keep warning you guys how impatient I am, and I am. I just want to hurry up and see the finished doll. I'm wetting the watercolor pencil by licking it. Probably toxic. It just might kill me, but I just don't think I'm eating enough of it to hopefully worry about. So after creating the main eye shape, then it looks like we outline it with some white above, and then fill it in with some pink inside. Just looking to see if I have it symmetrical. It will take many layers of the white, but by wetting the watercolor pencil, I'll get a lot more solid color with less layers, and then also will make it chunky and lumpy. And then when it's not as opaque as I would like, I come in with acrylic paint, still impatient, and make it slightly lumpier, chunkier. That's the only thing, the texture of the finished thing is the only part that I felt like I definitely could have done better on, even with my current skill level. Taking your time to do it right is not a skill level related problem. And one of the interesting things was that each time I would think I was done and I would start taking photographs, when I looked at the photograph, I would see things wrong with the symmetry that I just didn't see when I was looking at my eyes. It's actually a artist technique to help look at things. Another way that you can help check to see if it's symmetrical, is, especially for a face, is to turn it upside down. For whatever reason, when I'm trying to do eyebrows, things like that, I like to draw the first one right side up. And then when I draw the second one, I like to turn it upside down. And I feel like that helps me quite a bit. I'm using sandpaper to sharpen my colored pencils. I would like to get them super, super pointy sharp, the way I see the professional artists do on their channels. But I just find I break, and break, and then I'm never able to get a long, shiny piece. So I'm trying to use my wet watercolor pencil to really paint on some color here. My aim is to really just add the outline and to not darken in the middle. But because, again, I'm using a wet, not completely wet, slightly damp colored pencil and trying to rush things along, I'm not having great results. And so I decided to just wipe it all off to start over. Maybe I'm going to use acrylic paint, which is usually, if I'm getting impatient about layers, acrylic paint, right? I go back and add a little bit more white up to the top of the eye. I'll continue working back and forth until I feel like it's as good as I'm going to get. Really don't like painting the mouths that have the exposed teeth. I feel like I did a great job. I did it off camera. I just am more fumbly bumbly on camera. I felt like she was coming out pretty good so far. I'm going to tape off with some washi tape where I want her contour line to go. And that's a little bit tricky because if you put it up too high, it looks like Dixie on the left. That's one of the main things that went wrong with Dixie on the left. One of the other things that went wrong was my contour, both brush and color weren't the best on my practice doll. I feel like I've addressed that and like I can do a much better job with the contour on this doll. I have a couple pretty small, really nice makeup brushes that I never used. They were actually just too small for anything. I have a couple go-to eye makeup brushes and those are the only ones I use. So anything extra that came in the pack, I simply just did not need. So I'm using a combination of that reddish brown and then some flesh tone for blending, trying to make sure to keep the darkness only at the outer edge. Unlike with Dixie, we're hoping for learn from those mistakes on Pixie and do a little bit better job. She still isn't something I would feel comfortable like giving as a gift, like, oh, here, I made this cute Trixie Mattel doll for you on this unarticulated flat foot body. Like, I just don't know. Especially Dixie. Poor little Dixie. Like, after the video, she doesn't have any of her clothes or accessories, shoes anymore. And I think she's headed for the trash. So if you would like Dixie and you're in the US, I will pay to ship her to you naked. You can style her or whatever. She's hideous. She's just hideous. But if she amuses you, she entertains you, and you'd like to have her, she's free to the first person to reach out to me on Instagram and say, I want her. You know, here's my address. And then with Pixie, I feel like Pixie is hopefully going to be a look how far I've come. That maybe a year from now, I will have gotten better. So then I'll want to try this again, you know, and this can kind of show me how far I came. And the Barbie Dream Bestie, the Trixie Mattel doll, she's all right. I think she fits in pretty nicely with my other customized Barbie Dream Besties dolls. She was the most difficult and challenging one and not the most successful one. I feel like of the ambitious makeovers with the Dream Besties, my Draculara one. I know a lot of people didn't watch that video. It suffered the curse of my Monster High videos. I'm sorry. It just seems clear that the bulk of my audience is just not into Monster High or maybe Barbie Dream Besties either. So anyhow, I hope this video doesn't suffer. There's 2 Barbies and a Dream Bestie. So hopefully this won't suffer any kind of curse for lack of viewership. If you don't want to watch my video and my dismal results, make sure you check out Mini Stitches, all the other channels. I'll pop up all their names on screen. I want to make sure that I get them right. I don't want to accidentally say them wrong. They're new people to me, and I'm not as familiar with them as I am with Amanda over at Mini Stitches. Okay, this one's all done. We're ready to move over to the desk. We will check out Dixie, Pixie, and Trixie Mattel. From paint-stained hands to teased-up hair and outfits picked with utmost care, 3 dolls emerged through trial and flair, not perfect, but made with love and care. This project was wild, weird, and way harder than I expected, but also way more fun. I learned a ton, made a few mistakes, and honestly, I'm pretty proud of how it turned out, especially my final Trixie Mattel look. If you had fun watching this chaotic creation come together, give it a like, leave me a comment letting me know which version you like best or who you'd love to see next in doll form. Try to keep it kind. And don't forget, this is a collab. My fellow doll customizer made incredible drag queen transformations, and you do not want to miss them. They're not clumsy little mishaps like my video here. Check out their videos through the links in the description box. Seriously, they're amazing. Thanks for watching, and remember, it doesn't have to be perfect, just fabulously you. See you next time, and thanks for watching. As always, have a great day, and happy doll hunting!